Hello everyone and welcome back to the Oliver Wyman Health Innovation Summit. This is Kate Warnock coming to you live from the GuideWell Insights Lounge. I'm excited to bring here today Oliver Wyman's Todd Van Tol. Todd, welcome to the interview.
Thank you, Kate. It's a pleasure to be here.
Todd, I was wondering if you could start first with a brief description of what you do for Oliver Wyman. What's your position with the company?
Sure, absolutely. My role is leading our efforts in North America. So this encompasses our work with payers, health insurers, providers, both large health systems, physician practices, as well as our work in the life sciences area, including both pharmaceutical and med device. So it's an opportunity to really work across a fascinating and changing landscape and thinking about how all the different parts of this healthcare ecosystem work together.
Well, I was wondering if you could tell us, with your background, why are we seeing so much consolidation in the space today?
You hit on it, Kate. Consolidation is the number one topic in a lot of our conversations with different leaders from different parts of the healthcare system. First, primary driver is there's just tremendous pressure on both the payer and provider business models. So if you look at both ACA but other broader, more systemic changes, you have providers dealing with really a tremendous amount of rate compression in terms of how they're reimbursed, a change in how they're reimbursed, moving from fee for service to beginning to get more into fee for value. And that ultimately is putting a lot of pressure on them to invest and to change, and they're seeing the pressure in their margins as they also deal with things like higher consumer debt, more high deductible health plans, et cetera. And then payers are going through a related but different set of challenges, again, with a lot of pressure on their margins. We've seen the ACA markets and the exchanges. Those markets are still settling. Pretty significant losses for payers participating in those. We see some of their traditional areas of strength in the group business increasingly shifting more to ASO models, and a lot of taxes and fees and investment required to really comply with ACA and shift to a more consumer-centric business model. So we got a lot of pressure on their business, and then somewhat related as well, there is more stability, as much as that is hard to believe, where some of the existential threats to the ACA may have passed by. Insurers are increasingly comfortable that the ACA markets are here for the foreseeable future. Medicare Advantage, achieving a position of some stability and enrollment where they can say, we've got pressure on our business model, but at least we're operating in an environment where we have some confidence year to year. That plus, honestly, the access to capital, relatively cheap debt, all of this is causing pretty much every payer and provider system to look at their options as we move from what has been historically a very fragmented industry into one that will be more tightly consolidated.
Well, given that perspective, what kind of business models are we seeing as a result of all these mergers and acquisitions?
It's a good question. A lot of attention is being paid right now to what I would call like consolidation. So you have payers combining, acquiring other payers, or providers doing the same. Those are often driven by desire to get to greater economies of scale. They want to take admin cost out. They can bring their models together, take out some redundancy, perhaps achieve savings in the low single digits, both for payers and providers. The far more interesting consolidation that's occurring is where you start to see some of the payer-provider interface, where you have providers increasingly in Medicare Advantage or on the ACA launching their own health plan offerings, contracting with payers in new and novel ways focused on population health. And that is where I think we get out of the rubric of, can we take a couple points off of admin cost to can we really work the 85% of the cost bar in a way that delivers greater value, higher quality, better experience to people, because now we're working all parts of the continuum. We have the payer, their longitudinal data, their understanding of claims and risk melded together with the provider, the clinical data, what's happening at the point of care, and a collaboration that can deliver better outcomes, better value, better experience.
I read recently Oliver Wyman produced, I believe it was a white paper on just what you just spoke of with that partnership between the payer and the provider, and I believe the products Oliver Wyman dubbed partnered products. And I think it makes a lot of sense, and I'm interested to see more how that plays out in the coming market. My final question for you, though, Todd, is how can the industry better manage costs as we move forward? You touched on some ways. Where do you think we're going to get the biggest gains?
I think it goes back to the individual participants getting out of their silos. So we talk a lot about healthcare being a team sport. And that's challenging because you have different business models, payers, providers, physicians, hospitals, et cetera, all trying to figure out how to best navigate a changing landscape. At times that can cause those models to retrench and look to protect what they have. Where we really see breakthrough innovation and really see the impact on cost and quality is when there is the collaboration across the different constituents, where there is data sharing, where the payer is taking a look at what kind of experience and care the person is receiving over a longitudinal period of time that's being melded up with clinical data that the provider has, and we are truly delivering on the promise of population health management and doing things that can ultimately take significant cost out of the system. There are certain areas, payers, providers, more embracing of that. I think everybody needs to get on that and start to see what they can do together as opposed to being more protective.
You know, everything that you speak to does just prove that it's going to be the consumer who benefits most from those outcomes. So it's a good and exciting time to be in the healthcare industry, isn't it?
It sure is. It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to the opportunity to continue to participate in, as this industry just undergoes a really once-in-a-generation transformation.
Well, Todd, thank you so much for joining us today here in the GuideWell Insights Lounge, and we really look forward to seeing you again sometime in the future. This is Kate Warnock. We'll be back again soon.